Hi, guys. Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us tonight in Drumfills Cafe. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to, if you have any question, like you want to know who you are, you can look at us on www.drumfillscafe.com. You will see we have a lot of content. Interviews from the past. Drumfills Cafe already have almost 4 years at the time we're talking right now. So 4 years is it's maybe sounds not so long, but for us it is. We have like more than 350 interviews in 4 different languages. So please look at our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. So we have a lot of media to you can take a look at it. In the meantime. We have today we are in Drumfills Cafe in English, but we, like I said, we have different languages. So we have an alternation of those interview in English, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. So take time, depend on which language you understand. If you have any question, you can always write to us through our website. There's a link there, and you can ask your question. So let's go today with our guest. I know that guy for a few years. It's a great drummer, great player, good attitude. It's super friendly, and I wanted we can chat with him. Let's go and welcome Eden Bahar. How are you doing?
Hey man, comment ça va mon ami?
Ça va très bien, merci. Very good. Very, very good. So, hey, thanks to be with us today, Eden. I wanted we chat about your career. You have a long career for you started at a young age too, so that's why it depends. Some people start at like 15, 20,
Mm.
but you started like even at 9 years old. And before actually to talk about you, I wanted we talk about your introduction of music because I think your father was a very important inspiration in your music career. So
Really is. Yes.
yeah, tell us a bit about how that have been a big influence for you.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest impact I've had in my life. I think even when I was in my mother's womb, when my mother was pregnant with me, my father would take speakers and just put it on the belly, and he would play music to me. And ever since I was born, I was exposed to music all the time. It was everywhere. It was in the house all the time. My father had a studio, and he always used to have producers and singer songwriters and musicians and rehearsals and recordings all the time. So music was everywhere all the time, nonstop. So it was inevitable for me to not be a musician. I don't remember ever deciding that I want to be a musician or a drummer. It was
Okay.
obvious I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And do you is the music in your house mainly were Israeli music, or you had like from all over the place? I mean, really all over, like R&B, funk, pop, or more traditional music. What wasn't running in the radio, let's say, at that time?
Yeah, it was a lot of classical music, like
Okay.
Beethoven, Chopin, Mozart, since my father is a pianist. But also a lot of Israeli music. Um, of course, my father owns a huge selection of vinyls, so he used to have, like hundreds from all over the world, from funk to disco to pop to um, jazz, even crazy things like Jean-Michel Jarre, like
Yep.
crazy, everything, just opens your mind, expand the horizons. But also, as he was a producer, so he would also make jingles for the radio or music for commercials,
Mhm.
or work on albums with a new artist. So I've seen so many things. Is He was also, I remember him working with uh, a beauty contest for Israel. In Israel, like a beauty contest.
Yeah.
So like you bring all the models to sing a song. I was like a
Yeah.
little kid with so many models in my father's studio. That was like, wow. I
Okay,
I,
what's
I
going on
enjoyed that.
here?
It was a good day.
I want to be a musician. I confirm. That's nice. And but you mentioned publicity. So your father was mainly recording but not mainly, but he was doing publicities and producing things. So he was hiring you as a drummer. And do he work with other drummer too? Of course, before you, but during the time you start to be like enough strong to play good drumming on recording, you were the main guy, or you were it was kind of switching in with some other drummer around town.
No, it's a great question. I think they were. We had a few opportunities for me to play the drums when I was still young. Obviously, as the producer, he had the power, to decide who is going to play in the recordings and the tracks and the albums. But it's not always up to the producer, because
Hmm.
it's also the artists. At the end of the
Totally.
day, it's their music, it's their choice. Sometimes you want a specific artist to play. But I did get a few really amazing opportunities to record at a very young age. Um, yeah, and that was an amazing experience. I do remember a lot of times that my father used to bring uh, drummers, like professional drummers that he
Yep.
he would know since he was a teenager. And I remember those days, those recording sessions, as like it was school for me. I would sit in the recording studio in the control room with my father. I would just watch what he was doing on the computer, and I would watch the drummer. I would watch how they communicate. I would watch
Hmm.
how they make it better, how they fix things, how they make things sound better, how they approach the music, how they approach the drums. How we even how the drummer would tune the drums. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
That I would just enjoying every moment of it. As a kid, that was a I wouldn't say was, because it still is. That is like the greatest gift I got. That my father is such an amazing musician, and I've learned so many, like everything. I've learned everything from him, and I still do.
Yeah, it's good because it's a school. So you were going. It was a school in your house, inside your
Yeah,
family. You were going to school in music, and it's like you mentioned, to learn how people communicate. They can fix problem when you record. People has no idea sometimes how a record can be done. Sometimes you have to weird stuff change, like a snare drum, because that one doesn't work, but can be more complicated thing, can be like a one arrangement or one part of the song doesn't fit. They just realize after pre-prod in their studio it doesn't work, so they need to fix that fast because you pay per hour or it's a
exactly.
package. So you have to change fast your idea and fix all. So you have to go through that in your life at some point. So yeah, I can understand that. I went through that too, and it's
Yeah,
school of
I'm
life.
sure.
So
Yeah,
it's great. And later you played with your father, you tour with him, so you did shows with him. That's amazing. So I'm sure you learned a lot, because doing stages outside of country or like whatever, like it's a very good experience. How was it for you?
it was amazing. I remember I was playing with my father at a very young age, but I remember our first tour together was when I was 16, 15 or 16. We took a cruise ship to from Israel to Cyprus,
Hmm.
and my father was playing with a singer. His name is Boz Sharabi. He's a very famous singer. Um, and they invited me to join the cruise, as a vacation, a few days, 2 3 days,
Yes.
and they did a show. They had, I think, one show for the people in the cruise. And during that concert, they invited me to play one song
Oh, that's great.
and the drum solo, because that one song is the song that the singer is introducing all the band.
Okay, okay, okay.
So so yeah, they gave me the one song. Everyone is doing a solo, and I did one, and that was amazing experience. I remember myself, like, the bandstand was on the dock, on the boat in the middle of the ocean, and I was playing drums. To my left, my father. To my right, the guitar player. In front of me was the singer and all
A
the
singer.
all the audience. um and I remember it clearly because it felt like the beginning of something. It felt like all the hours I put in and practice, and I'm sure you
Mhm.
can relate.
Yep.
All the hours we put in and practice, and then you finally get a chance to showcase your abilities on the stage, and people clap and they enjoy and they dance, and it's worth everything.
It's amazing. That's amazing. When it was, you said on the you were on the deck. It was you were playing outside or you're playing inside, like on stage.
Outside. It was an
Outside.
outside
Okay.
stage.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's something. Acoustically, how was because something can be good, something can be bad. It depends.
um that's a good question. I don't remember.
Remember, too much on stress at that time,
Oh my god.
focusing on your
Yeah.
thing. Okay, it's that.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah,
trying to, like just trying to focus on my chops at that time.
yeah.
It
That's
was
yeah,
hard to take in everything. Um, it just sharing the stage with my father was enough for me.
yeah. I was asking because a long time ago I did a contract in Montreal. It was an old inside pool, but the pool doesn't exist anymore. They kept the pool, but they make private parties or events there, and they put my drum down the pool.
Oh my god.
So it was the one of the worst acoustic ever I have
Bet it
because yeah, all
sounds
this.
wet.
Yeah, yeah, wet. There was so wet that it was bouncing everywhere. Like like the snare was 10 times what it should be. So it was super hard. And they put the speaker up the pole, so I didn't have direct feed, and I didn't have in ear at the time. So for
Oh
that
wow.
gig, I mean, so yeah, it's just funny like, we all. I think we grew up like as musician
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
play in
Exactly.
situation like that. When we go in a better situation after that, where we know okay, this I dealt
Yeah.
with that before, so
We
it's
appreciate.
okay.
Yeah.
We appreciate exactly. But well, that's great. And let's say about you. I mean, let's go forward. Like, and you took a lot of drum lessons. You studied with a lot of drummers, like during your young age, even like recently. So, tell us which about just one or two or three drummer you really enjoy to take lessons with them.
Yeah. I
Who were they?
remember. Yeah. 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 It's a great question. For me, I used to study and learn and practice by my own most of my early years. I did have a teacher in middle school, but it wasn't it wasn't like I was enjoying it. I enjoyed
Okay,
more practicing by myself and just taking taking things in my own rhythm in a
I
way.
got it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was only after my in when I in my 20s, when I started my 20s, it was when I started more opening up to the outside world, and basically take drum lessons from as many drummers I could find. I don't think taking, I mean, again, it's individual, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's individual. It can work for for me, but not for anyone else.
Totally.
Yeah, but I started to just take drum lessons from as many drummers and teachers I could find. And at the beginning, it was drummers from Israel.
Okay.
We have Israel is it's quite small country, but we have a lot of really talented people in
Oh
Israel.
yeah, for sure. And now with
Yeah.
internet, sorry, but it's you can there's great
Yeah.
musician everywhere. It's amazing.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever been to Israel?
No, never been. Is one country I didn't tour. I did a lot of countries, but not
Yeah.
never stopped by. Never happened. It
Okay.
could happen a few years back, but sometime like time arrived, the contract doesn't work out or things like that. But one day I will go for sure.
I'll make it. I'll make it.
We'll make it happen.
We'll make it
I
happen.
will,
Yeah.
I will play on your WFL, and
Exactly. It's waiting.
it's
Uh,
waiting exactly.
yeah. So I started just studying with as many drummers I could find. And really, I found out that it really keeps me fresh, and I learn. Even if we do like a 1 hour or 2 hour session, I may not remember everything, but there's at least one or two things I will take with me that will serve me in the future.
Hmm.
And when you do that, you start creating your toolbox from so many drummers and musicians. And during those times, I started my professional career, so I would play with so many people, um, tour, so many different projects with different music genres. So
Yeah, yeah.
I was all about learning at that time in my 20s. Um, and then as the years go by, I started more, um, getting opportunities from learning from outside drummers that came to Israel to perform, or came
Hmm.
to Israel for to do a clinic. So I started, just booking lessons with Chris Coleman,
Hmm.
Kenwood Denard. Um, there were like so many others. Yeah, master classes as well. Um, wow, I can't even remember, but so much,
So
like
many. Yeah.
so many. And that's only in Israel. I There were a few occasions when I flew to Croatia, in 2015 and 2016 for a drum seminar. In
Okay.
2015, we have Clayton Cameroon, Rick Latham, um, and then in 2016 we had Horacio El Negro Hernandez, Steve Gadd, Pete Lockett. Amazing drummers, amazing,
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
like front row drummers. So being in the same room with them and learning from them and asking them questions, and just just watching them approach this beautiful instrument, the drums. That's what we all share, that the love for drums. Just
Totally.
watching them approach this instrument, and sharing their love with us, was profound for me. And
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
like, I've learned so much from them. uh,
That's a good the drumming music circle. It's amazing for that. Can be with different instrument too, but I know I'm more connect with the drumming and percussion world, and then I will say the same. Um, just to sometimes internet is nice because I was mentioning we have a lot of connection, but when you can see musician in a live situation performing something in a clinic or in a festival or even in their real project, in a bar or something in a theater, it make you realizing other thing, and to be there with these guys in a little room sometimes, because a clinic sometimes you are like 50 or 80 or 100 person. It change your mind. You can see things you won't see necessarily. That energy won't pass normally through the television. And let's say through your television, you need to be in front of it to be like, oh, okay,
a
this is
hundred
what's going
percent.
on right now. I remember to see so many drummer back then in Montreal when I was 16 years old in the Montreal Drum Festival. And it was just after a weekend of 2 days, we were so exhausted mentally. I was going back home and like, okay, where I'm starting to practice, what's going to be my next thing, because you've seen Weckl, Colaiuta, Virgil, name it. So after that, you're like, okay, where I'm starting now, but you saw them live. So it's another thing. It make you growing as a person for sure,
Yeah,
as a
yeah, it's,
musician.
it's a push, and sometimes we need that push, to see how far we can go, and how far we can push
Yeah,
ourselves as musicians. And it's
big
it's
time.
it's never ending. That's the fun part. People say that the progress to what's the word? um oh, I forgot now.
It's okay. No worry, no worry. It's gonna be back. Yeah, in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
How
they
you
will be back.
remember
Yeah,
that? You're
yeah,
back.
yeah.
But it's true what you say, because I I have a few students. I have many students during my life, but I have a few students I remember telling me I'm too old. I'm like 55, 60, let's say, and to play drum. I only want to have to be playing some rhythms and things like that. I'm like, no, there's no there's no age it's not like at 52 it's done, you know, like no,
Yeah.
you can start to play whatever instrument. You won't be maybe the best, but just to create and develop that love with one instrument, can be guitar, piano, whatever instrument you're going to pick, is just a second hobby, a third hobby, a fourth hobby you will have,
Yeah.
and you will understand more after that. When you're watching a video, music video, or you're listening a song, you will be more open to, okay, that's that line, that's the bass line. Because
Yeah.
sometimes people doesn't realize, when you start to listen a song on radio, you're like, okay, you have the whole project in front of you, the whole thing. But when you start to look at, okay, the bass drum do that, the bass do that, the guitar,
Yeah. You start to analyze it.
you
Yeah.
start to analyze, you can understand more things, like the correlation between guitar and bass, where's the beat go, or like what that the chord, and why there's another chord after, there's, you know, there's logic and all that. So when you start an instrument, you're going to learn that. So I don't think there an age for that. And even an example, Akira Jimbo, the Japanese drummer, he really started to play drum at 16. But he told me, like, not to, I went to a clinic, and he told, not just to me, he told us, like, over the year he started to growing up, but in a young age. But he was like, I'm 16, I'm old, and 18, like, I'm still old to play drum. But what happened, he started to copy drummer he likes, and but after that incorporate his own signature, and now he's one of the top Japanese
It's
drummer
amazing.
ever had, you know. So there's no age, is the
It's
limit
no
is
age. Yeah, there's no age,
no.
and if someone is 52 and he already has a career and he suddenly wants to learn the drums, he can do it, or she, anyone can do it. There's no age, especially in music and in drums. Like Roy Haynes is like 93, I
Yeah,
think,
it's super, yeah.
like there's no age. And even as drummers, if we learn other things besides our comfort zone, it helps us as a drummer. it's
Big time.
it's it's a two-way road.
Totally. Like you just mentioned it. Like, if you, it's you don't need to be good in everything. First of all, like, I mean, like, it's not because you're a drummer you're the most versatile musician ever. Like, I mean, there are specialists in guitar for rock and jazz and what. But if you know a lot of things, it's help, you know. And for example, there are some drummer, they're metal drummer, for example, but they have a good acknowledgement of jazz, for example, and they will integrate that to their playing, so you can hear it. And it's good because it gives them a sound signature, and I love it. But they don't say, I'm a jazz drummer and a metal drummer necessarily. You can be both. My point is, like,
Yeah.
if you can have your specialty, or you can have specialties, but you don't need to be the most versatile.
Either
It's
or.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
the magic of music. You can play whatever, or you can specialize, or you can be good in a few. Um, and particularly
Absolutely.
in our, I don't know in Israel, but I know in Canada, like, where we need to be the most versatile. We need to be the best in all, but you need to be most versatile, because we have so much genre music. We're so connect with different things. We have to play a rock one day, one country contract the next, one jazz gig after. So we have to know a lot of things. Um, and of course, you start to use to be, you have your own way after that. But the point is, like, I know some countries, as if you go to Cuba, they will be very into their music. Of course, now it changed a lot with the modernization and everything. They play
Yes.
they play modern music, like. But if you back 10, 15 years ago, 15, but the root is still there. They have a root of their own language, and they're strong at it, you know.
Yes.
It's normal. But some countries, like Canada or US, for example, we have to be very versatile, the most as possible. I don't know in Israel how it was for you over there. In general, you
In
need to
in
be like that,
Israel,
or
yeah, yeah. It's also a multicultural country. We have very, like, it's very, very versatile.
okay.
I played, besides the obvious, like rock, pop, jazz sometimes, but besides those genres, I played Egyptian. I played a lot of blues. I played Yemen music. I played
Mhm.
orchestral music in an orchestra. Both music from like Beethoven area, but also modern Israeli composers. um, so many different hip hop, um, Middle Eastern. The Middle Eastern music genre is the strong genre in Israel, but that also it's taken from different countries such as
Yeah, yeah.
other Middle Eastern countries, and also Greek music. Greek music is very, very, very similar to the Israeli music is taking a lot from the Greek music for some reason. I don't know why, but there's a lot of songs that actually the original songs are from Greece, and
Okay.
then there are translated into Hebrew. A lot of songs.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny because you say that. I have a drum book, and in my last edition, now I will make the correction, but well, it's not a mistake, but I've been corrected by a drummer friend. He's Greek,
Oh, okay.
and he's like, that rhythm, I said it was from Turkey, but it's a Greek rhythm. It's like
Oh, yeah.
they took the inspiration and the title. It's the same rhythm, but they just changed the title. It's not bad. They just took the rhythm. It's not a full mistake. The rhythm exists there, but it's from Greece. So I'm like,
That's
okay,
yeah.
it's
You learn
interesting.
something new every day.
That's
Yeah,
something. So I will probably just like put the two title in the two different roots of that genre. So I will put like still what I have right now, plus the Greek title. It's just like a funny fact. So well, Greeks were very strong for years, and like I mean, as an influencer, the Olympic game, whatever thing you can see in the history, so that it's possible they have been influenced so many countries surrounding them. It's possible. It's possible of that. No? I don't know. We can read. Let's go Wikipedia.
yeah.
Let's go Google it.
There's
So,
always
but
something to learn. Yeah.
always something to learn. Right, so let's continue. The time fly. Now you have a good gig. You've been running for about two year and a half with Kuza, with Cirque,
Yes.
uh, around that, right? Or 3 years. So how many years
If
you've been
you
with
if
them?
you if we don't count COVID, so around 3 years. Yes.
3 years. So basically, that was a good challenge for you too, because you just don't play the drum, but you have a solo act of about 3 4 minutes on stage. So and you have to be into you don't you don't fake a clown, for example. You're not like another character, but you need to be more, you need to project more, let's say that
Hmm.
that way, like as if you just play for an artist. Of course you have, I'm sure you have to work your presence on stage, and from year to year and shows and city you've been better and better and better. So but how was when you jump from something little bit out of your comfort zone, like that at the beginning? How did you work that approach to be on stage solo, just for a transition, you know?
Yeah. At the beginning, I was very, very scared. Very scared. That moment where, I mean, you've seen the show. You
Yep.
remember
Yep.
that moment where Wheel of Death just finished. They're running off stage. The crowd is like pumped up. The energies are high,
I
very high. Um, and then we play the outro. Everyone is break on the one, and then the curtains are opened, lights on me, and then silence. Like there's no music. It's only drums, you know. And I'm by myself. Um, that first time I remember was in Spain, Malaga, in 2019. I was very scared because I just my mind was like in a different place. And it still happens today. And every time it does, I just remind myself, you know, there are so many things in the show that we don't control.
That big time, big time. Yeah.
But what can control and I do control is playing drums, and it's that easy. So I just remind myself when I play the drums, just play drums. Everything that's not in our control will be okay. Will work itself out at some point in some way. But it takes time. It takes time. And at this point, almost 3 years touring with Kuza, I've been playing around 800 shows.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. So you learn a lot. I learn a lot from playing so many shows,
Oh yeah.
about myself, about the show, about music, about the band, about the people, about touring. I've learned so much about culture and countries and languages, um and of course about drums. And I just try to that sometimes I miss the way I felt in that first solo, because that there's like a burnout at some point, when we do something over and over and
Repetitive. Yeah.
over.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm sure you know that feeling.
Oh yeah.
um
The what you say something good for the people listening. At the beginning, you were mentioning like you were playing and sometimes you kind of disconnect and sometimes it happened to you and you're like, okay, the only thing I like, at least I can control the drums. And this is something happened to me a few times. And and um, and I remember I was telling myself, or my girlfriend was telling me the same, like, Eric, calm down. Like, I mean, what you do is you did that for many years, and what you do is playing drums right now, so you just
exactly.
play drums. So start to be too much in your head. And second thing, you just said it. What is hard is not to play the drum sometimes or play whatever instrument or music, is to keep the focus. I always told my student about that. You can be the best drummer, but like you just did 800 shows or something like that, it's crazy amount of show. You need to keep that spirit, that sparkling energy. But what is hard is keep the focus and give it your best. If and you, because you don't want to be burned out, and every day you will do the same drum fill, same thing, same all. Um, and this is hard, this you need to work, and this you will have, unfortunately, to learn it in the hard way. It's no school for that. It's
Mm-hmm.
play a show, and try to get a show it give you that heavy amount of shows. Or doesn't need to be that heavy like you, but let's say you're a kid and you get an hotel gig in Morocco, for example, and you go overseas and you play 5 nights per week for 3 months. It's a big amount of show too. You understand? You will have a that you will start to have that experience. Because at the beginning you're super excited, but after 3 months, you're like, I'm not sure if it's I like it. Is it boring? Is it good? And you start to rethink about how you play. You relook at how what do you do, but you need to keep just playing music and be better, and just trying to be more definition, like thinking about what you play on guitar, for example. And I understand 100% what you say. What and what I'm sure, when you go on stage, you have your do you well, first of all, I will split into two questions. When you do that act after the Wheel of Death, are you doing exactly every night the same thing, or you have sometime? Because I know I did that sometime. I have like a starting and a hand where they were all been I always have been the same, and the center could I have a few parts in my head I will move, like some kind of puzzle. How you work that out?
Well, my part is 100% improvised. Of course, I have the days where I feel less um um what's the word, like I have less ideas sometimes,
Hmm. Yeah.
so I go with a more easy approach with something I already tried in the past. But for me, it's like you said, the start and the finish is what's important. So
Yeah.
for me, I always like to start with a bang, just to catch the people's attention.
Totally.
Just the Wheel of Death just finished. Now it's the drum solo. So
Need
I
to be
like to
high.
start. Yeah, I like the energies are there. So I want to bring it even higher.
Yeah.
So I like to start with the bang, and then the way I finish it, I actually have something that I do, like crowd participation, to pump them up. So I play like four on the floor in the kick, and I do like this with the sticks,
Yeah.
so they could clap with me. And that's something I've been doing every single show at the end of the show, because it just brings up the energy, and it's fun. And yeah, but in between the beginning and the end, I let myself flow to whatever happens. I have enough experience that I can trust myself, that whatever decision I make in the moment would be good to present the drum solo in the show You understand
Yeah,
what I mean? Um,
totally.
yeah, yeah, and
But it's a good it's a good introduction, but not just that. Is it's I like to see production giving a chance to drummers or percussion player to be more shown and not just be in the dark.
yeah.
And I like to see that. And
And you know
if,
why? Because David Shiner, the creator of the show, he's a drummer himself. That's
okay, I
why.
didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the reason there's a drum solo in the show.
But it's a fun fact because the show I'm on it right now, the producer is a drummer too. So and
Oh,
a keyboard is a keyboard player, and he wanted a drummer on stage. But the other thing funny is like I have the same person designed your platform on stage is the same they did mine. It's the
really?
same designer. Yeah, the only thing they didn't put motor it's not like electronically controlled on my side because for technical reason here they wanted it's organically pushed and back after
Okay.
but switch out because I know the people that don't know you play a big part of the show almost all on an electronic kit and you have a few like a snare acoustic and
Yeah,
you play on a real kit your couple of minutes. For me it's the contrary. I play the full show on the drum, but
on the
on the
acoustic.
platform,
Yes.
it's an electronic kit for I am playing. I have real drums are surrounding me, but the solo for me is an electronic. So it's just a
Yeah.
switch of
Oh, that's funny.
technology.
Yeah, it's exactly the opposite.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Ah,
let's talk about that actually. How is to switch from electronic to acoustic?
it's challenging just because how it feels and how it reacts.
Hmm.
In electronic, you have to, there's a velocity. If you get to the highest point, if you hit harder than that, it's not going to change anything.
Nothing. Yeah,
Um, so it's very technical because you need to know where to hit with the stick in order to get the velocity you want. So
totally.
it's very technical. If I want to do ghost notes, it's in a way harder to play ghost notes on the V drums because I can't just keep my stick in the center. I have to bring it off center.
Off. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. And then of course I have a few moments in the show where I'm going from the V drums to the acoustic, and then from the acoustic to the V drums, and that transition of, by now I'm used to it, but it's still funky because when the show happens, I when I go to from the V drums to the acoustic, I can't just go like just play the toms and feel it for a minute or two because the show is happening.
Yeah,
So when I hear the click in my ears and I hear the call, I have to go on the one. So I have no preparation time besides sound check, which is before the show. And then so that transition is hard because it feels very different. The configuration, the it's just very very different. And then going from the acoustic after the drum solo, playing on the V drums for the Hoops Act, which is a very quiet song on the V drums. So the
yeah,
change is very very drastic. So
yeah. I can feel.
I have to pace myself and take a lot of breaths to slow my heart rate down, and concentrate a lot on just the V drums and just hitting in the right spot, just hitting on the right spot of the trigger. Because if I don't, I want to hit like a like a low volume snare or tom, and if I don't, it's suddenly like a rim shot, and it
Yeah,
happens.
that's boom. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just how you have to, yeah, it's just a V drum. Yeah.
And you were mentioning about Ghost Note. It's something very interesting that electronic drum have had like big evolution by steps, I will say. And I can say like in the past 5 years, it's less like what you say because I know maybe the kit you have is older a bit, but like the new generation kit, the Ghost Note are quite. Start to be very very close to what it should be. I think what they still need to work on is hi hat electronic
Hmm.
hi-hat. You have a real one, but I mean electronic
I do.
hi-hat are still I think a weird gray zone in electronic drumming. I think that even the crashes and the right are way better, but the hi-hat, the opening and all, it's still something not easy to do, I guess.
The,
But
the,
they're gonna
the
go there,
pads,
you know.
the pads of the hi-hats are not the same as the crash?
I don't know with some technology. Some is like they're really clipping together. Some is
Uh-huh.
just a one exactly like a crash. The kit they bought here for the show is the top Yamaha is a DTX10, and it's a one top hitting a bottom part. It's like a donut kind of thing. So it's just like touching it for trigging. So it's working well. But if you do, it doesn't catch that swing sometimes. So,
Mm.
but it's not too. But it's not about the kit. It's just really its technologies is going there. But for the snare drum, the here I can play dead center in my Ghost Note. I have like
Yeah.
the range is amazing. So
Yeah.
the thing is I I can see the drum electronic in a few years that one of the best tool. Even now is one of the super good tool for drummers back to their apartment. They don't want to have a big drum. They play on their electronic kit for practicing, and I think it's really nice. And you can produce album, record fast.
Oh, yeah.
Um, it's
Yeah,
a really good
definitely.
thing to have.
And
And before you have to
don't
pay
annoy the neighbors, of course.
well, yes and no. It depends. Sometimes the pedal clips so hard, and if you're on a, the people
That's
can
true.
hear the
Oh, yeah.
pedal.
That's
Anyway,
true.
uh, anyway, let's continue because we don't have much time. I wanted to ask you if you have a couple of other questions, but I don't think
Yes.
we'll go through all of them. Um, what's your next? What's your next challenge? Like in the next years, where you see you, what you would like to achieve? Let's say, as a drummer.
Well, right now I am. Well, I'll take a step back. During COVID, I actually
Yep.
published a book in
Yep.
Hebrew. So for the past year, I've been working on the translation of the book.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's my next big uh, dream, I would say, to publish my book in English, and like maybe do some events, like motivational speaker, maybe even TED or a
Yep.
TED speak. Um, I think that's my next goal is try to tell the world a little bit about my story and how I came to where I am today. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's yeah, I think that answered the question.
Yeah, yeah.
Besides that,
Your book,
yeah,
sorry, your book is about what? Is about music? It's about what is your music about? Your book
it's
about? Sorry.
yeah, the it's an autobiography about my journey until this day, basically.
Okay.
Uh, because in Israel, I don't know if you know, but when you get to 18 years of age, you go to the army.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So
The service.
yeah, service for around through to 3 to 2 years. Um, and during my army service, I actually had an accident, a life-threatening accident, which I won't get into details now,
Hmm.
um, but that was a life-changing experience for me. And because of that accident, I basically that day changed my life. So I my life changed forever, and I basically started to live my life like I was reborn in a way.
I can
I
understand.
yeah, I started to chase my dreams. I started to face my fears. I started to speak and go out to the world and just do all the things I didn't do before my
Yeah. Hmm.
army service. Before, I was all about leave me alone. I just want to play drums.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I still am today, but not as much as before. So that's the book. That's the idea of
That's
the
okay. It's
book. Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, but it's a good point. The people should live their life, and when you are a musician, yeah, we are all musicians. They will tell you the same. They are focused on what they're creating, what they're doing, but it's good to have a good side part, another part of yourself, like can be a traveler reading books, or you go to the cinema watching movies. You need to have other hobbies, other thing, and enjoying like your morning coffee, for example, or you go outside with friends at night, you enjoy that moment because it goes fast, and it's important to it's going to give you more inspiration. You're going to be a better musician at the end of the line. So I think it's really important to be conscious of that, because when I was a kind of like you when I was very very young. I was playing drums all the time,
Hmm.
all the time, and I have a few bands there, and I was playing with bands and going to school and all, but I was always on music and music. And let's say like in after my first big tour, in the back in 2007, I think. It changed. It changed late for me, like, but not changed late, but well, that was in my like in my 20s. So I changed like completely. So from there, you're growing as a better musician. After that, you get the maturity too. So I
100%.
feel you on that. I feel you on that.
Yeah.
Well, almost finished. Quick, like that. Now I know you perform all around the world. I mean, mostly in North America right now. How is to for you to change cities and move your luggages to one city to the other? Because I'm sure sometimes you're in a city you like, sometimes a city you like less. It's not
Hmm.
because I'm not insulting people, but sometimes we feel
Yeah.
more connect, or sometimes you like we talk about your hotel is very far. But
Yeah.
how is to change from one energy to another energy? How you deal with that as a musician right now?
I like it in general. For me, it keeps me on my toes. I love seeing the world and meeting and like meeting new people and seeing new cities and explore new cities and cultures and go to see live shows and museums and you know collaborate with so many people I meet along the way. Um,
Hmm.
as a kid, I've moved a lot with my mom actually. I moved a lot of apartments. Um, so for me, moving so much is not a problem. Just because I'm used to it as a kid, you know.
Yeah.
For me, living out of a suitcase and playing drums so much and seeing the world and doing what I love doing is yeah, you know, that there's your answer. You know, it's not a big deal. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
But that's okay. I mean, it's a good answer. The because I know some people, they ask me for a long time, like, you don't want to have like your place like to sit to be for years. And yeah, I want to have that. I had a house for years, and now I'm in a steady gig. So, but I think every things after a moment. I think you when you live a tour, for example, a big tour, it has a moment after that. You can have another. I think it's good to have different pages for realizing what you like and what you don't like for all them. I think all these stories are good, and I agree with you. Seeing people, new cities, or just to play music in different cities, even if it's the same venue, it's not the same public. They don't
Mhm.
clap. Sometimes it's funny to say that, but they don't
Oh
react the
yeah,
same. Depend of where you are.
yeah. The clowns are changing their jokes every city, you know, because some jokes, you know, it's little things, but yeah, we definitely feel the cultural change every city we go to. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for being with us on Drumfills Cafe, Aiden. We'll keep in touch. I wish you good luck in your career. Keep going, and we'll continue to chat. And if where people can see what you're doing, like what are the best social media or website or whatever people can reach you or see what your content.
Instagram, most active on Instagram, and my website, edenbahar.com, where I will publish my book pretty soon.
Okay.
And yeah, you can reach out to me there through my email or DM on Instagram. And I want to thank you for this privilege to have this talk with you. And yeah, man, I hope we see each other soon somewhere in the world.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Our path will cross for sure. Take care. Have a safe day, and we'll keep in touch. Have a good. I think for you it's like 3 p.m. now, so have a good
Yes.
rest of the day.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you,
Take
Eric.
care. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye.